Guess this YouTube sensation. Give up? Nah, you probably guessed it anyway. Anyway, what is up everybody? RandomRandomMan here, and wow, it's been another long while since I've even done another movie review. But of course, I am back yet again, and this time it's for a really big one. By arguably popular opinion, I'm going to be reviewing the biggest movie of this year, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. By the way, there will be no major spoilers here, you're all safe, and to the best of my ability without giving anything away, the plot follows a young scavenger named Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, who discovers a droid, BB-8, that she finds is really a huge step into taking down the evil First Order, led by Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver. And after meeting up with a redeemed stormtrooper named Finn, played by John Boyega, who escaped the First Order with a resistance pilot named Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac, the three have to go through a huge adventure in order to take down the First Order and defeat all the evil in the galaxy. Now, as I've mentioned before, this movie is just massive. And I myself, of course, was really enthused to go and see it. I myself am a film fan, which makes me a fan of Star Wars as well. Because if you don't like Star Wars, you're not a fan of film, because it encompasses everything that there is to love about it. I absolutely adore the original trilogy. The prequel trilogy, less so, but I'm also a fan of other merchandise such as the video games and the toys and whatnot. So with this movie, I was really intrigued to see it, but I wanted to see what else would go into making this movie, because this is the first Star Wars movie to be made after Disney acquired Lucasfilm. And there's a lot to go about here. And from the first footage and pictures, I looked pretty pleased, but hoped that there was a huge reliance on innovation over nostalgia. Did this pay off? Let's run down the whole thing. With this extensive cast, I'm going to start off with some of the new players. Daisy Ridley as Rey. She is a stunning discovery to be had with this movie. I don't think there necessarily is a main character to this movie as with the rest of the Star Wars films, but I consider Ridley's performance to be the central anchor to this latest entry. I adored her performance as this character. Not only did she light up the screen with her gorgeous appearance, but with her incredible ability to perceive emotion and resilience towards what depth her character has. In the action scenes, she is such a wonder to watch. And in the emotional scenes, I really felt that she genuinely implied a lot of great character. This is apparently her feature film debut, and I give her tremendous props. Another big new player is John Boyega as Finn. I think he was pretty funny. The first thing I have to think of when I think of Boyega's character is that he's funny, and he, of course, plays the redeemed stormtrooper who has a change of heart. And I feel that he's also a big lead with Rey, as he leads the story on, and the movie kind of begins with him and Poe Dameron, who we'll get to in a moment. But with Boyega, he has the really nice leading man charm, who is not necessarily the cliche tough guy kind of character, because he genuinely does feel frightened and or weak in many moments, but when he gets up to snuff, he really does give it his all, and I also commend his performance. With Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, not much is seen between him out of the three new leads here. In fact, there is the least amount of screen time given to him, more so from the beginning and a little bit more towards the end, but I still really love him. Isaac is one of my favorite actors working today, and he gives a lot of charisma off to play this really badass X-Wing fighter pilot who is apparently the best in the entire galaxy, and I believe it. He is really funny, just like Boyega, has strong resilience just like Ridley's character, but above all else, I feel that he has a lot to do, even with the small screen time he is given. So with our three new leads here, I feel that if this is the new cast we're going to get from now on with the Star Wars movies, I'm all in. With every new hero in this movie comes a new villain. One complaint that I had going into this movie, aside from the innovation versus nostalgia thing that I mentioned earlier, is if the villains were going to be portrayed properly and not be just retreads of what we've seen before. Starting out with Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver, and I must say, a lot of the issues I had relating towards him have been alleviated. I don't think he's a straight up clone of Darth Vader, but more so having emotion left inside him that's a lot more expressed than Vader had, even though he was more contained in the past. With Ren, he has definitely a lot more outward expression than Vader does, only because he seems a lot more violent. I can't really say too much what goes there because that will be spoiler territory, but I would say I did like Driver in this role. He is unmasked a couple of times, which I would thought would be an issue too, but again, I digress. We also have Gwendolyn Christie as Captain Phasma. Really haven't seen much of her, so I can't say a lot, but people are already touting her as the next Boba Fett, so I'm on board for that. And Donald Gleason as General Hux. Now, I really like this actor, but at times I felt he was really hamming it up for the camera, especially when he yells to try to make it seem like he's more physically imposing when he isn't, or just a threatening character overall. I kind of thought he was okay. If not, he would have been more downplayed. I would have liked him more. We also have other new characters, but they're really too much to mention, other than the two motion capture characters played by Lupita Nyong'o and Andy Serkis. Both of them get ample amount of screen time. I can't really talk about them even more because that would be spoilers, just like some of the villains, but I would say I like them for what they were. So for the new cast, I feel that I liked what we've seen here so far, especially from the new heroes. And now we have the old cast that returns here. Okay, the one other complaint that I had going in, besides the villains and the innovation versus nostalgia thing, I promise this is the last one that I had going in, was if the old cast was going to be showcased way too much or way too little, if there was going to be an imbalance. Luckily, those issues have been appeased again because we start out with Harrison Ford returning as the iconic Han Solo. Not lost 1 ounce at all in portraying this character. He continues to be likable and has a lot more dashing things to do with this character. Cannot say more. We also have Carrie Fisher returning as Princess Leia. More of a brief appearance compared to Ford, but I still really love her. Psst, by the way, Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker does make a return here, but I can't really spoil what happens with him. We have Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca. Phenomenal work once again. Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. And also R2-D2. Not much of him, but I can't really say why. But speaking of that really nice droid, we have the new droid as well, BB-8. And among him, I have to give the biggest honorable mention for because he is adorable. Really, really cute. Just as much as R2 was in the old films, and then some. There's a lot more people to be showcased in this film, but I really cannot go into more of that because spoilers. But with this overall ensemble cast, fan-freaking-tastic. I really enjoyed the balance that the new and the old brought within, and they carried the movie throughout. From the brief plot synopsis I've mentioned before, yeah, can't really go much more into it, but that's basically all you need to know to get the basic gist of what this movie is about. And once it opens, you feel right at home with it being a Star Wars movie. And if you're a big fan of this franchise, you know what I'm talking about. It begins perfectly and continues on with little slowdown in between. It really feels like I am watching a movie that is meant to be, and given that it's directed by a longtime fan himself, J.J. Abrams, who before this has directed 2 Star Trek movies, but he knows what he's doing in order to bring the creative drive within a Star Wars movie, and that is definitely what we all need to hear when we hear about a movie like this. As it keeps going, it provides little slowdown again. It always becomes engaging, electrifying, and just all around really, really fun. With all the technical merits that has to go in between, this provides such an experience that even at a little over 2 hours, never gives any time to breathe that is unnecessary or any time to really drag itself out way too much. It really feels like you're watching something that makes it out of this world, what a pun there, because it takes place in the galaxy far, far away a long time ago. So those technical merits, and holy majoli. Not only if you're going to be a Star Wars fan watching this, you'll be just amazed with everything going in between, but as a film fan myself, this is just a technical prowess and an achievement to behold in bringing Star Wars in the modern frame of filmmaking. These effects look incredibly difficult to pull off, and they look not only faithful to what the original spirit of the first movies had to offer, but they make it modern in how it all feels. From the look of it all, with practical effects, the production design, just immaculate attention to detail brought within with the sound, and wow, a lot of other things. I'm still freaking out over this. It's just immense and just beautiful to all look at. The action and how it is all shot. Abrams is known to use a little more than a few lens flares throughout. I personally didn't notice them, but when aerial dogfights with X-Wings and other fighter pilots are used, the action is incredibly easy to follow with the chases, the fights on the ground with blasters going everywhere, the lightsaber duels, which are really, really well choreographed and believable to even happen. All of that makes for a spectacular viewing experience that is appealing to the eyes. I really did not think that there was a lot to complain about technically, because with the advanced technology, the really dedicated team behind all of this, it shows that this was a labor of love. By the way, as a quick side note, for all you hardcore Star Wars fans out there, this is a Star Wars movie, of course. There's a lot of things you're going to love about it and just really enjoy to analyze throughout. And everything that you love about a Star Wars movie is pretty much here. The music, John Williams' iconic score does make a return, but I also really enjoy all the original stuff that happens here, but also nods to the other movies here. Just wanted to say that as well. Now, as much as I am gushing about this movie and critically looking at it from a reviewer standpoint in it being a movie, I was looking for complaints all around and I really couldn't find a lot to really complain about, but one thing, yes, even though there's a lot to really love here, there's one thing I found bothersome, to me anyway, that I felt was noticeable. A lot of things here felt like it was trying to be a tribute to the original Star Wars film, A New Hope. And while that isn't bad, it felt like Abrams and company played it safe with the writing. The writing is all around really fantastic, but some moments I saw, it was just like how it was done here in the past, or here, and here. That really wasn't a big deal to make me go, this breaks the film altogether. Oh, I am so mad. Oh, this movie immediately sucks. No. I am not going to be like that. It definitely felt like how I was really feeling when watching Creed as well. That's another movie that's the 7th in its respective live-action franchise, where a lot of that film borrowed from the original Rocky. I feel that applies here as well. Loved Creed, but I did feel that way too, and it certainly does pop up here, but it's nothing that'll make me want to punch the screen and really be an angry fan of Star Wars, because whatever else has been done here has truly been done to such marvelous results. My final thoughts on this movie are that the cast, new and old, truly spectacular to see come together and bring a new entry out. The visuals are just breathtaking, electrifying, spectacular, immaculate, really intricate. There are so many adjectives to describe them. The story, while I feel was a bit of a retread to be tributing and playing it safe with episode 4, A New Hope, really did leave me engaged throughout, with the pacing being very brisk, very positive in terms of how I felt happy watching this movie. And overall, there's just a lot more I can go into this movie that I really cannot do because that would be spoilers, but I never spoil in my reviews, so I will just leave it at this. Star Wars The Force Awakens really left me feeling like this is a movie that is made for Star Wars fans and film lovers alike. Now, there can be fans out there that will be disappointed to see that there should have been more done. It ends on a cliffhanger without spoiling anything, because that's what the Star Wars movies have done in the past, but they do pop up again here. But it really has us clamoring for more in the best way possible, because that's what really excellent movies like these do throughout. I cannot wait to see more from the main sequel trilogy and the spin-offs because they have really made me become a happy Star Wars fan again, and just really glad to be able to see movies like these come back and really remind you of why Star Wars is the amalgamation and total compilation of why we love cinema. This is among now one of my favorite movies of the year because of what it does so well in bringing the franchise back and doing something to innovate with the new things it has to offer. I feel that this is J.J. Abrams' best movie. Him and the creative team deserve a huge round of applause in what they do, as much as I have enjoyed Abrams' films in the past. Again, this is now one of my new favorite movies of the year. I will highly recommend it, of course, to any Star Wars fan out there, film lover, or anyone who hasn't seen a Star Wars movie before, and I know you're out there. You will not feel left out because you'll feel like you've been a fan for a long time. My final verdict for Star Wars: The Force Awakens is 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Please keep the comments as spoiler-free as I've given this review. Subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.